today to talk to you about the future of marketing, about where it's going for the rest of 2021, where it's going to be heading in 2022, some of the trends that I'm seeing right now, as well as some actionable and practical tips that you can use to implement in your business or your client's business or any of the marketing that you're doing. Now, I've got a couple points that I do want to cover, but this is for you. This is your time. So if you've got questions, if you have thoughts or ideas you want to run by, you want to get some feedback, make sure to let me know in the comments there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive in first with a little bit of the content that I want to cover, and then as they come up and as you've got questions, feel free to drop them into the comment box, and we will go from there. So a couple quick tech things here. Kevin, good morning, my friend. Dave, you made it right on, guys. Well, it's good to see you. Kevin, Lakeland, Florida. Oh man, I hear it's super roasting hot there right now. Let me know. How is that? Sounds super cliche to talk about the weather, but regardless. And Dave, my man, how you doing, buddy? I don't know how long you're going to be able to stick around for, but if you can, it would be good to see you. So with all that said, well, let's dive right in, starting with something I talk about a lot. And the reason that I talk about it a lot is because it's just so incredibly important. And that is all about marketing alignment. So it's no secret, no surprise that marketing is increasingly becoming more competitive and more saturated. There's more people doing what you're doing. There's a kind of this race to the bottom often with pricing and with structure and all that. So how do you fix that? How do you combat all of that? How do you ensure that your marketing becomes more effective now than it ever has been before? And the answer is alignment, which essentially means taking a few steps back and focusing on you and your business and what you want to do and who you want to serve and how you want to serve them and how you want to present it. Now, the strategy and the structure that I use to describe this comes down to a couple different M's. In marketing, we love our alliteration. We love our M's. So we're going to start with model. This is your business model, what it is that you do, how you do it better. What's your positioning, your differentiation? Going to cover a lot of terms here today. If you're not familiar with them, I've got a ton of videos on introduction to marketing, as well as some that's going to go over segmentation and targeting and differentiation and positioning. So you can watch that after this one. It'll go into all of that. But essentially, what are you doing? Who are you doing it for? How is your business different and better than everyone else? What is the structure of your business? How are you delivering things? What's the pricing? All of this stuff that needs to be dialed in so you can make sure that you're offering the best thing possible that's in your unique zone of genius. After model, we have market. This is obviously your ideal target market, your ideal customer avatar, who it is that you want to serve. The reality is you can't serve everybody, nor should you want to. You want to be specific into the people that are going to have the highest likelihood of success and that you enjoy working with most. Now, if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you know I talk a lot about those different types of targeting. We're talking demographic details like age, gender, income, occupation, title, things like that. Geographic targeting, like what city, state, province, country, street, neighborhood, wherever they live. And psychographic targeting. What are their attitudes, their values, their lifestyles, their interests, their beliefs? But then you also have kind of this different form of targeting I rarely talk about, known as behavioral targeting or behavioral segmentation, where essentially you're going after people based on certain behaviors that they have and certain life points that they may be at. So we're gonna circle back on that one if I can remember. Remind me later to talk about 9 enders. Otherwise, I'll make a future video on that later. So we've got your model dialed. We've got your market in. Next, it's time to move on to message. This is where a lot of people glance over. And the message is the core of your marketing. It's what you're talking about. It's the value that you're putting out there. It's the offer that you're making. And the way to do this is through miracles and miseries. So you've got to get into the shoes of your ideal target market. You've got to find out what are their miseries, being their pains, their problems, their fears, their frustrations, all the things they're trying to move away from. What are their miracles? All of the things that they want, their dreams, their goals, their desires, all of the benefits and end states that they're hoping to achieve. And then here's the kicker. Your business, its only goal is to serve as the bridge that helps them cross that chasm away from all their miseries and all the horrible stuff they're trying to get away from and towards all their miracles and their benefits and the end state that they want. the better you're able to understand and then describe and articulate this, how your business is perfectly positioned to help them move away from all the bad stuff and towards all the good stuff, the better your marketing is going to succeed. And it'll enable you to craft a truly irresistible offer, which is the bulk of your marketing. If you're able to put out a really, really good offer, you don't really need a lot of content, a lot of flashy stuff. You just need to say, hey, you have this problem. I have this solution. Let me help you. Okay. After message, time for media. This is where most people start. They hear that TikTok is the place to be, or LinkedIn is great for B2B, or Pinterest if your market is primarily women, and then they dive in there. Totally wrong step. You want to do that after you've identified your model, your market, and your message. Then you find your media. And the reason is because once you've got a clear understanding of what you do and who you do it for, you're going to be able to laser focus and just pinpoint the exact media platforms that your ideal target market is present and active online. So for example, we typically look at one of the big four. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. These are typically where you're going to find the bulk of your people, but also don't be afraid to look at Twitter and Pinterest and TikTok and Snapchat, depending on the demographics. Lastly, machine. What is the flow that's going to allow you to walk somebody through the journey of learning about you, of doing business with you, of hiring you, of buying your stuff? This is often called a marketing funnel or some kind of lead gen campaign or a sales funnel or a customer journey. They're all kind of synonyms for the same thing. So everybody claims that theirs is unique and proprietary and different. It's all kind of the same deal. And the reality is if you've ever sold anything before, you already have a marketing funnel because somebody had to hear about you. They had to do a little bit of research and then they bought from you. And that's the funnel. But you want to make sure that you've mapped it out and that you're optimizing it every step of the way. All right, let's say hi to a couple people. Sun is shining. Then we're going to move on to the next point. So yeah, we got some great comments. Dave in Ibiza. Good man. The sun is shining. Oh man. Awesome. The sun is not shining here. It's cloudy and not so nice. Mohammed, good to see you, my friend. And joining from India. Oh man, what time is it? Melee. What time is it in India? It's got to be late. All right, Jitesh, good to see you as well. And sun is shining, life is good. Yeah, no kidding. Hey, amazing. Good morning, Anna. Good to see ya. Who else have we got here? Oh, hi from the Bahamas. That's nice too. Look at all these tropical locations. We've got Ibiza, we've got the Bahamas. That is absolutely wicked. Kevin, heat index is triple digits. That's disgusting. That is horrible. Horrible to hear. We had a heat wave come through here like 2 weeks ago, and it was up at 40 degrees Celsius, which I think, without doing a quick Google search, is like 110, 120 Fahrenheit. It was awful. Did not enjoy it. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you could stop by and say hi. Oh, Dave, you're too kind. You're too kind. Thank you, everyone. Kind words, kind words. Reem, good to see ya. And Anastasia, joining from the Netherlands. Very cool. We've got a very good international and diverse audience here. So let me see if I can hide those comments and we'll move on to the next point, which is all about content marketing. And of course, if you have questions, make sure to drop them in the comment section below. And I'm going to make sure to carve out some time at the end of this to answer all of them. But next, let's talk content marketing, because here's what I'm seeing right now. Again, no secret, no surprise that people are producing a lot of content, and there's becoming a bigger gap between the businesses that are making content marketing a core part of their businesses and those that aren't. So I've been preaching about content marketing for the better part of 10 years now. And that's become, I've said it so many times that I almost forget to stress how incredibly important it is that you're creating content. So let's run a bit of a thought experiment. Let's say that you're going out shopping for anything that you think of. What's something you bought recently? And you've got two different companies to choose from. You've got company A that's creating a blog and a podcast and social media posts. They're answering questions online. Maybe they have the odd video that comes up. They're just producing a lot of content. Then you have company B, and they're almost invisible. You don't really know that they're there. They may not even still be in business. They have a link to their Twitter profile that hasn't been posted on since 2016 on their website. And you just got to wonder, are they what they say they are? The reality is that the business, the vast majority of it, is going to the company with more content. Now, this does mean that you need to create more I always struggle with recommending quantity over quality because, of course, you should try to create the highest quality content that you can, but you shouldn't let perfectionism get in the way of simply publishing content because you've got to put yourself out there. Nobody can buy from you if they don't know you exist. So a challenge to you for the remainder of 2021. What are we now? We're July, so we've got August, September, October. Maybe do this for November too, and then chill out a bit for December. But essentially, I'd like to challenge you to do a bit of a 90-day content sprint. Try to carve out 20 to 30 minutes a day to create content for your business every single day, whether that is for email, for a podcast, for a YouTube video, for a social media post. When you get into the habit and you start flexing your content marketing muscles, good things happen, not only for you internally. These are skills that you're going to develop and no one's ever going to be able to take away, but for your business as well. Watch what happens. And typically what I've seen in my businesses, as well as with my clients, is there's around this 90-day to 6-month lag. So anything that we do now, it's going to have repercussions, positive or negative, in around 90 days to 180 days, 3 to 6 months, essentially, which means that you're going to be setting yourself up for success in 2022 by starting to create that content now and getting it out there. Full disclosure, some channels, if you have thought about starting a YouTube channel or investing more into a YouTube channel or something like that, this platform where we are now, takes a bit of time. So we're looking at like 2 years of solid content production, 1 to 2 videos a week. Sounds scary, sounds overwhelming, which is why most people don't start, but that's good news for you. If this is something that you want to do, I'd highly recommend you do it because for half the time it takes to get a degree, you could essentially set yourself up for life by building up your business, your personal brand, bringing in more income than you ever thought possible. All right. Let's see. Ayera, sunny and smoky. Oh, I wonder if that's from forest fires. We got wicked forest fires here as well, which is not pleasant. So hopefully you're staying, keeping that air clean as best you can. Anna, switching career from dental assisting to digital marketing because pursuing a remote career. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Well, first of all, congratulations and good for you, Anna. And yes, you can't obviously do dentistry remote. That would be a terrifying thought. But yes, doing digital marketing, it's available to everyone. One thing that I say a lot is that great marketers aren't born, they're trained, which means everything that I know, I once did not know. Everything that I can do now, I once could not do. And in fact, it was only around 10 years ago that I first started into marketing. And prior to that point, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know that it was a viable career choice. I didn't know you could make money, let alone how much money was available if you spend the time and energy to sort of invest in yourself and in learning and mastering the basics. But yeah, I can't say enough good things. It's absolutely the most amazing industry I've ever been a part of. And I've done some cool stuff before. So Mattia, studied your perfect email script. Good man. Good man. So make sure to keep writing those emails then. That script is it's going to be a bit of a brag, but I'm proud of that script. It's pretty solid. So make sure to apply it and good things are coming. Mattia, blown up a 20 million euro company to next levels during the pandemic. Yes. So the pandemic has been interesting, right? We've seen some businesses sadly, and a lot of local businesses sadly have to shut their doors. It's been tragic. I've had friends with local businesses that have had to close up in that. And it's sad. It's just not fair. It's not fun. Just sucks. On the other hand, there's been a lot of businesses. Basically every business that I've been a part of now has grown exponentially due to sort of this transition and this greater acceptance of online work and so on and so forth. Awesome. Okay. SJ. Okay. Let's keep going. Next point. We've hit alignment. We've hit content marketing. Let's talk about algorithms because there's been a lot of questions. There's been a lot of concern over iOS 14, over cookies and tracking laws, over algorithms just changing, Instagram coming out basically and just saying overtly that, hey, we're no longer like a picture sharing site, which is nuts, right? If you want to see some drama, head over to Instagram and see what different photographers think of this. They are not impressed. They're making some videos on YouTube as well. But I mean, things change and we don't own Instagram. We don't own Facebook. We don't own YouTube. It's their channel. We have to play by their rules. Some people get frustrated and angry and they quit. And that's okay because that leaves the door open for those of us who are willing to adapt and evolve and change. A couple quick notes on this. way back, let's say 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, Facebook was all about getting you to promote your Facebook business page. That was their whole thing. They're like, grow a business page on Facebook. It's like, it's better than a website. Come on here. We'll give you reach. We'll give you exposure. And everybody did. We built these massive Facebook business pages for clients. We tried to get as much as we could into them. We filled them up. We were getting great reach. And then almost overnight, Facebook was like, yeah, we're not going to show your stuff anymore unless you pay. And everybody freaked out. Everybody except me and a few other people, I'm sure, because what ended up happening is they wanted to start transitioning people over to using their Facebook ads. Most people got angry and they're like, this should be free. And for the record, nothing should be free in marketing. If you're getting access to somebody else's platform and you're making money from it, we all got to chip in a little bit here. But here's the deal. Everybody freaked out. They boycotted it almost out of principle. And so people like me and colleagues and friends and that, we were able to buy Facebook ads when they first came out for pennies. We took up all the reach. We were getting 5-cent, 10-cent clicks. We were getting leads for 30 cents, 20 cents. I mean, it was literally the golden age of online advertising, much like Google Ads was quite a few years before that. So things changed. Then obviously supply and demand, the supply wasn't going up because it can't just be a solid news feed full of ads. Demand increased as people started to see just how profitable they were. And therefore the costs have gone up to where they are. So this is very normal. Things are going to change. They're going to continue to evolve. iOS 14, same deal. They're responding to people getting frustrated with getting tracked. It's the same reason that people have a lot of cookie blockers, ad blockers, privacy blockers. Advertisers are freaking out. Our ads aren't working. Things are going up. First of all, there's always a way around it. So what we're doing right now is a little bit of kind of like on platform retargeting. So we can show a video to someone. We can retarget them based on percentage of view watch. Doesn't work for everyone. Doesn't work all the time, which is why my number one strategy is still very much like it was many, many years ago, to take the traffic from platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, like LinkedIn, like Twitter, like YouTube, and then move it to your email list. Your email list is your controlled, owned asset. It is your business's single biggest and most important marketing asset available, period, bar none. I'd rather have 1 email subscriber than 10 followers on any platform, or 1,000 email subscribers than 100,000 followers on a different platform, because it allows me the power and the capability to reach out, to make a connection, and the algorithm can't just come in and swap things around. So if you have an email list, double down on it. Want to see you emailing at least 2 to 3 times a week, regardless of what industry you're in. Some will tolerate more. Few will tolerate less. You'd be surprised. Even if you think your market doesn't want to hear from you, once a week is the bare minimum. You could probably get away with 2 or more. If you don't have an email list, hey, today's the day. Email's not dead. It's amazing. Had a chat with a guy. Keep the name secret, but I had a chat with a guy the other day who had a very large email list in the tens and tens of thousands. And he's like, well, isn't email dead? And the answer, of course, is no. But if it's not working for you, then you're probably just doing it wrong, because there is a way to do it and capitalize on it. All right. Hey, Mona, you made it. Good to see ya. Great that you could make it. And Anna, you're too kind. Thank you very much. I'm glad you find the content helpful and useful. All right, let's move on to advertising. I had a note on email marketing that I was going to talk about last, but I think I just pretty much said all I need to say. Email marketing is still king, queen, and everything in between. If you're not doing it, you need to do it. You need to do it now. Number of great ways to start, number of amazing different email platforms to choose from. If you're using MailChimp, I'd probably recommend you look at something different, like say Drip or ConvertKit. It just makes it a little easier later to upgrade, but regardless, just get started. Okay, let's talk about advertising, because one of the sexiest aspects in all of marketing is, of course, advertising, which just sounds like this magic bullet, this golden goose where you put in $1 and you get out 2 and you get out 5 and you get out 10 and you scale to the moon and you live on the beach sipping martinis or whatever people sip on beaches these days, and life is good. And the reality is that is still very possible, but it's less probable now, especially if you don't have things in the right order. So the first thing that I need to cover is, if your business is doing less than, say, $8,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, anywhere under that range, you don't need ads. In fact, you may not even benefit from ads unless you're a very small local business targeting a local area, in which case running a locally targeted Facebook ad campaign at $5 or $10 a day is probably a decent thing to test. But if you're an online business and you haven't hit 10K, we don't really need ads, because what is going to happen is advertising is like gas on a fire. It's an accelerator. It takes something good and it makes it better. It takes something bad and it shows it to more people, which makes you lose money faster. So this is why if you're in at like that, mostly that 10K range or under, what you need to do is you need to fix your offer and your messaging and your positioning and what you're putting out there in front of people and your content and your entire business optimization strategy. Because the last thing that we need is to take an offer that's either unproven or not desirable enough and show it to more people. It just doesn't make any sense. Rather, if you're at that 10K mark and you're growing to 12K, 15K, 20K a month, now's probably time that we can start looking at ads, because we have market viability. We know that what you're selling is desirable. We know it's hitting the right chord. We've done it organically, which means we now have not only proof, but we also have a little bit of cash flow that we can put behind it, because ads are expensive, as they should be, because we should be getting a return on investment. So that's the other kicker. If you're spending money on your advertising and it is not providing an ROI, return on investment, and it's not doing it relatively quickly, something's wrong. We need to change it. Doesn't mean that your business is wrong or your product's wrong or your service or anything like that. It means the campaign and the positioning and the marketing behind it just isn't quite lining up. So don't be afraid to shut things off, to put a pause on it, to figure out what's going on. Now, with Facebook ads, for example, what I'll typically do is I'll set up a number of different campaigns. I'll give them 24 to 48 hours to allow them to optimize. I'll put a decent budget behind each, and then I'll try not to watch it as best as I can. And then I'll come back after and I will evaluate. If you've never read 80/20 Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall, great book. He's kind of one of the OGs in Google ads, phenomenal advertiser also with Facebook ads, but he's got good structures and campaigns to help you evaluate and essentially decide that if you're running 5 ads, one of them is going to work great. 2 of them are going to be okay. One of them is going to be not that great, and one of them is going to be just horrifically bad. And that basically applies for everything you do in business and marketing, which is why it's never a one and done type of thing. You need to create multiple ads, multiple campaigns, and you need to watch them. All right. That's it. That's all I've got. Those are my main points for the rest of 2021 into 2022. So I'm going to turn it over to you. If you have questions, if you have ideas, you want to have things that you want to run by, make sure to let me know. And other quick note. Yes, the software I'm using right now is Melon. So this is my live streaming software of choice. I've actually made a video on it a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Amazing software. So easy to use. Super cool. I love everything about it. So make sure to check out that video, and you can sign up as well. So let's see. Yvonne, studying on how one can speak and teach, like, oh, you're too kind, Yvonne. So the ability to talk, first of all, I probably talk too fast. So that might either be a good thing or a bad thing. But the reality is that it becomes a whole lot easier when you've got 2 different things working for you. The first of which is genuine passion. Sounds so nerdy, but that's the reality. Genuine passion for what you do and what you're talking about. So I really love marketing. Like, probably an unnatural amount. It's just been one of the most fascinating fields that I've ever studied. It has to do with consumer behavior and buyer psychology and human beings and why we do what we do and how we are influenced and persuaded and how we can use this to make positive change in the world. So I try not to use marketing to just sell more socks or whatever it is. I try to use it to impact businesses and companies and things that I actually care about and that I actually believe in. This is the reason that I'm so selective of my one-on-one clients, is I really want to make sure that I'm behind what they do, but it gives you so much power. So that essentially is one thing. And the second, really just comes down to loving and to studying and to trying to master your subject area and talking about it all the time. Like, it's really just immersion. I've just been studying marketing for so long and talking about it for so long. So it's just a whole lot of practice makes progress. If you look back at my earlier YouTube videos, Yeah, they're not quite so smooth. There's some sketchy stuff in there. Sometimes the video's blurry, sometimes the audio is only coming out of one side. Fortunately, with video that's not live, you can pause and all that. So you can't see me sweating profusely and feeling horrifically uncomfortable on camera, sweating under these like obscenely bright lights. All right. Anna, I'm taking HubSpot Academy courses and Facebook. Besides learning, what else can you do to get experience? So first of all, HubSpot's amazing. And got a cool video coming up from HubSpot shortly, all about advertising, actually. So stay tuned. I think that one's either going out Monday or later in the week, but that'll be good. They're, yeah, great company. Such good stuff. Just read everything that they've got. Facebook also worth learning, of course. Facebook being kind of that 800-pound gorilla, 2 billion monthly users. I mean, it's just a beast of a social media network. It can't be ignored, almost regardless of what market you're serving. Your people are probably on Facebook. And if they're not on Facebook, they're on Instagram, and Facebook owns Instagram. So much of the same stuff applies. Now, what else can you do to get experience? Such a good question. There's a couple things you can do. The first of which is the easiest one and also one of the most valuable, and that's to do your own marketing. So for example, AnnaMelendez.com. Do you own that domain name? Because if not, you should probably go get it right now. And I wish I could say that privately, but go buy that right now. If it's taken, get one with like your middle initial or middle name or something like that. But you want to basically start building out your own digital profiles. So build yourself a very simple website with WordPress or Wix or anything like that. Wix is great if you want to get started. I've got, again, tutorials on how to use Wix and how to set up a website on the channel here. So that's easy. Set up your social media networks, including Facebook and Instagram, mandatory, LinkedIn, probably, Twitter, up to you, YouTube, if you feel like doing video, amazing. But start really learning and diving into those platforms and starting to create content, seeing what resonates, what doesn't. The other thing you can do, and this is controversial for some weird reason, but you can find friends or family or businesses that you like, and you can work for free to get experience. I don't know why that became a bad thing, where people somewhere along the way were like, you need to know your value and know your worth and never work for free. But the reality is look, when you're first getting started, our values and our worth when we're learning something isn't that much. And in fact, it may actually hinder a company. So they're going to need to spend time and energy on us and look over our work and all that. So anyway, find people that you can do some work for, create some stuff. But again, the lowest barrier is your own stuff. And then if you can start to essentially write about your journey, talk about what you learn, either through text, audio, or video. You can document your process, what you've learned, why you think it's important, what's cool, what's not, what book you read, et cetera, et cetera. All of that will add up. That's essentially the exact path that I took. Okay, let's see. Mattia, about building a model online to offline. If you make a course about a great proven system to build converting sales pages. I'm not sure I fully follow, but about building a model online to offline, if you make a course about a proven system to build converting sales pages. So yes, obviously, let's talk about sales pages first. I'm going to try and think I understand, but essentially with sales pages, I don't have a course on that as of yet. I may at some point, but they're very deep. A sales page is a very long and complicated structure. The higher the price, the object, the more complicated it'll get. There's a number of decent sales page writing courses out there, as well as templates. So if you're just looking for kind of the bare bones stuff, just a quick Google search will bring up some. As far as a model of online to offline, that is one of my preferred methods. In fact, I use that all the time in my business. I start mostly 99% of the time online, but when someone purchases a training or a course or anything like that, I try to send them something physical to get a mailing address so I can follow up if and when I choose through offline medium. Again, the rationale, the logic behind this is owning your marketing database, owning your assets. So if you have someone's email address, that's good. If you have their phone number, that's good. If you have their mailing address, that's good too, because then it doesn't matter what the algorithms do or what things change. You're always able to reach out and contact them again. Yeah, infected with passion. Yeah, man. It's all about loving what you do. Um, is there any robot to automate the Facebook ads and other social media? Two reasons. One of which is that we want to automate after things are totally dialed in. We never want to automate early because we don't know what'll work, what won't, or worse, if something does work, we won't know why, so we can't replicate it. And if something doesn't work, we won't know why, so we might just do it again. So automation is amazing, but it's a later step. It's never the first step. The first step is always using those basics, going through things, making sure that you're ironing out all of the details and setting things up properly. Now, when I say sort of, it's because there's a number of great pieces of software out there, really cool stuff. I don't want to list any right now because there's a ton. Just Google them. But you're going to find them that are going to automate the Facebook buying process and split testing ads and so on and so forth. But the Facebook Ads Manager itself is probably your best place to start. Stay away from third-party software, especially when you're first getting going, and learn the basics. Learn how to set up a campaign and how to create ad sets, how to duplicate them, how to do split tests, when to use conversions versus traffic versus video views, all of that stuff. That's going to pay off far more than simply automating the process. In regards to other social media and to posting, yeah, there's, again, a million of them. There's Buffer, there's Hootsuite, there's Meet Edgar, which is my preference. I think I've got links to the ones that I recommend on adamerhart.com/resources. Probably, if you just go to adamerhart.com, you'll find it there. But there's some really cool stuff to help you out. And yeah, I learned online to offline from me. Oh, good man. We've come full circle. That's good to hear. Very cool. Yeah, it's a great strategy. So they call it OTO, online to offline, or OTO, online to offline, whatever it is. Amazing stuff. Especially as a digital marketer, so few people understand and appreciate the power of offline marketing. And what I always want to do is I want to go where the market is going, and ideally in a way that other people don't recognize or don't appreciate. So perfect example of this is email marketing. Last year worked with a company that was stuck at around 7 million a year, which is still great numbers, but they were stuck there for years and years and years. And we added this strategic email campaign and we brought them up to 10 million. So essentially we raised their revenue by 3 million just with email. And I got a lot of kickback in the early days because they're like, no, email, our people don't really use email. They won't really like it, etc. But like, that's one of those hidden gems that's so valuable, especially when you do it right, because everybody wants the latest Facebook ad hack or the latest Instagram algorithm trick or anything like that. And those might work for a while until they don't, because the algorithms change. And anytime something is a hack or a trick, other people game the system. So yeah, they're okay. They're fun for a short little while, but stick to the basics. Almost without fail, the more boring a marketing strategy is, like consistent content creation and email marketing and studying principles, the more boring it is, the more money you're going to make, almost without fail. So we focus there. Damien, yes, you did. Glad you could make it. All right. I'm going to see. Let's see. Tomorrow, run a campaign of a bank on your Instagram, but challenges you don't know Russian, and in Russia, many of the people don't know English. I need to create video content in Russian. Yep. I don't know what to do for you there on that one. If you don't speak a language and you've got to create a campaign in that language, you're going to need to find someone that speaks that language. I think that's the best I can do on that one. You might be able to get away with something like Google Translate or something like that, but it's probably not going to be as good. Check out Fiverr. Maybe they have some Russian translation or a Russian voiceover person that you can hire. But otherwise, yes, you got to speak the language. That's key to being understood. Alcides, my pleasure. Delphine, glad you could make it. Good to see you. Anna, oh, my pleasure. Yeah, I'm glad you could be here. And thank you for the questions. All right, guys, I am going to give it another couple minutes and then I'm going to have to wrap it up shortly. So if you've got any other questions that you want to have, feel free to drop them in the comment box below. I'll try to hit one or two more if I can. And then I'm going to have to sign off for now. Kurt, good to see you. It's so cool, guys, that you could make it here live. Always like interacting with you. It's so funny with YouTube being such a almost feels sometimes like a one-way conversation where you create content, you put it out there, and it just misses it. Because I like you guys. I like chatting and answering questions. So I'm glad you could be here. Tyler, what's your advice for getting clients as a brand agency that sells lots of different services? Yeah, it's basically the same as getting clients for any kind of service-based business. And essentially, I'm not sure how early or how late you tuned into this one, Tyler, but covered it right at the beginning on kind of really dialing in your model, your market, your message, your media, your machine, all of that. That's the key. So if you sell a ton of different things, you're going to have to dive a little bit deeper into the ones that make you the most amount of money, the ones that are easiest to deliver, the ones that get the best results, the ones that the clients want most. That's going to be the main kicker, because there's no point selling something that someone doesn't understand or doesn't think they want, even if you know it is an amazing strategy and it'll help them and so on. If they just don't want it, we can't force it down their throat. So we got to give them something that they want first, and then we can talk to them about the others later. So I think when you sell a lot of different services, if your revenue is sub $1,000,000 a year, you're probably selling too many services. So that's probably step one. If you're over 1,000,000, you've got a team and you have staff and you're able to fulfill on all of them, cool. That's great. We can talk about that later. But if you're sub that number, there's no reason to not focus in on, let's brand. So I'm just going to make some random guesses, either web design or web development or graphic design or logo design or print materials, or SEO is more marketing. But regardless, picking one or two key areas and focusing there, that's really going to be the key, rather than essentially spreading yourself too thin or trying to sell things that people don't want. And then marketing 101, right? Right place, right time, right message, good offer, solid follow-up system. When we're talking about B2B and that type of thing, they're going to need more touch points. Email marketing, still phenomenal. Talk about that a lot. So important. Kurt, how do we measure the effectiveness of a marketing campaign? All right, let's make this our last question, because it's a good one, and then I'm going to sign off from here. So feel free, anyone that tunes in now or later or whatnot, feel free to leave comments in the comments below this video as well if you've got other questions, and I can chime in later. But for now, we're gonna answer this one and move on. Awesome, Tyler. Glad that helped. So how do we measure the effectiveness of a marketing campaign? So the way that we do that is a big, scary, complicated world that many people overcomplicate. So if you look over on my shelves over there, there's books on marketing metrics and KPIs, which are key performance indicators, and marketing analytics, and all of this horrible, horrible mathematically driven stuff on all kinds of different statistical analysis and just a whole mess of garbage. The reality is, what we want to do is we want to start as simple as possible, and then we want to reverse engineer the metrics that matter and are specific to the campaign that we're doing. So in regards to measuring the effectiveness of a campaign, the very first thing that we want to look at is, what are we actually trying to accomplish? Most people go wrong here. They're like, well, I want reach or impressions or likes on my page or whatever it is, or these kind of intangible, useless vanity metrics that aren't going to do squat to grow your business. So the first thing is, we need to make sure that we're actually measuring things that are going to provide conversations or leads or sales, ideally. So we need to measure that. Once we've got that, then we start reverse engineering. So if we want sales, well, we need to track sales. And if we're tracking sales, well, does it happen through a conversation, through a sales page, through whatever? So then we need to track, all right, well, how many people are we getting to the sales page, we'll say. And then we need to track, well, what's the conversion rate of the sales page to a conversation or a checkout form? So that's another metric. And then we have to look at, well, how are we driving people there? Are we driving them through ads or organic? Are we measuring clicks? If so, are we going to measure click-through rates and so on? And then we could even take it a step back further from there and look at impressions. How many people are we getting in front of and getting them to take action? In marketing, we call it a CPM, cost per mil. How much does it cost us to reach 1,000 people? And then we can start to measure things against each other. So maybe it's $20 CPM on Facebook, cost you $20 to reach 1,000 people. Maybe it's 30 on Instagram and 70 on LinkedIn and 200 on the radio or whatever it is. So those are all what I call diagnostic metrics, because they point us in the right direction. But ultimately, I'm going to be looking for things like conversion rate, cost per lead, cost per acquisition, ultimately cost per sale, return on investment, or ROAS, return on ad spend, if we're running ads. So long, shortish answer, I guess we could go a whole lot deeper. I don't think we need to. I think the important thing is really figuring out what you're trying to accomplish, making sure that it's a financially driven objective. Marketing should make money, period. That's it. If your marketing is not making you money, you're doing it wrong. Something needs to change, because this is not something that we're doing for fun. We're doing this to grow our business, to make a bigger impact, to reach more people. Okay. With that said, Thank you guys. Some great questions. I enjoyed this chat. Thank you for stopping by. It's so good to interact with you live and in person. Have an amazing rest of your day. If you have other questions, if you're tuning in later, make sure to drop them in the comment section below. If you found this valuable or helpful, hit that like button. And otherwise, I will talk to you guys next time.